One thing about the Meacham is it forces at least Rick, Rebecca, Ken, and myself to write something new all the time. And although the audience remains the same, I can say that I've been here since 1990, and at least one person in the audience tonight was in the audience in 1990 when I first read. So that's why you have to write new poems. Okay. But I'm going to start tonight by reading some poems that are not new, that many of you have heard before. And the reason I'm doing that is because I have a new book coming out, New and Selected, and it's somewhat of a way of my celebrating myself, like Walt Whitman, I guess, by reading a couple of poems from that New and Selected. I'll start with a poem called Walking Back from Woodstock. And this is the way I must come to tell you about the night of the rainstorm. She was an ordinary woman, a woman I'd known only from the way she looked at me when you were not looking. Her room was ordinary. She asked if I would come in. I was walking back from Woodstock. You'd walked away from me. Santana was nothing but a broken guitar string. I needed everything like a little boy. I had one hand in my pocket, one hand on her steering wheel, and one hand in my other pocket. She stopped, so I got in. Her car was ordinary, a Plymouth or Dodge or 65 Ford, I don't know. The back seat is what I remember. It was full of sweet-smelling pool water, blue water. I wanted to drown in the smell of lilac that night, but her tub had the claws of a lion, and I was afraid. How then, tell me, can I describe the diameter of bubbles without revealing the secrets of such blue water? Merely to say it was a season for giving flowers is not enough. There was a storm. It was raining as it hadn't rained before. I was walking back from Woodstock. She stopped. I got inside. I turned her radio on. It wasn't loud, the splash of blue water in a season for giving flowers. Sometimes April is a cruel month. But it wasn't that night. It wasn't at all. It wasn't that night. It wasn't at all. It was raining. She stopped for me. So I got in. So to this ordinary woman whom I could never love, I gave the most beautiful bunch of wildflowers. Her room was an ordinary room. Her cat, ordinary, never spoke to me. The back seat, as I remember, warm and blue, she invited me in. I'd known her only from the way she stared at me when you were not looking. I was walking back from Woodstock. You'd walked away. It was raining. She was going my way. She stopped. Her car was ordinary. I got in. Warm water, scented candles, scented oil, flowers placed to float as lilies on a pond, prince or frog, not for me to decide. I needed a ride. It was raining. If I cannot remember a thing she said that evening, isn't it like she never said a thing that evening? If I cannot remember the touch of her skin, isn't it like I never touched her at all? I was walking back from Woodstock. I needed a ride. I needed to look into her ordinary eyes so I could see her ordinary face, but I saw nothing ordinary at all. I was afraid. It was a fast car. Her tub had the claws of a lion. I was walking along a road looking for Neil Cassidy and Jack Kerouac, writing my poems like John Berryman, sleeping in the woods until I no longer wanted to be Henry David Thoreau. But you know what, Sarah? In that room, that night, in that car, that ride, fast in the back seat, in the bathtub, sweet lilac blue, I could think only of you, lying asleep with your back to me, in our ordinary bed, in our ordinary room. This next poem is the title from the collection that I just spoke about, In Which Language Do I Keep Silence? It's a math poem. I know that if a number is raised to the first power, the exponent is usually not written. I know that the absolute value of a number is that number without its sign. Without a sign, there's no way to tell who I am today. Today, I will not give any indications. I know that the angular velocity of your movement is too beautiful to name, and I've come to recognize you as a dancer in lines of my own poetry. It's a funny thing how books can be read upside down and maps get us most lost. I know this from experience. Lately, I find myself looking at maps, measuring the distance between cities. 1 inch equals 25 miles, 1/25th of 1 inch equals 1 mile. Small towns are represented as dots. I question the mathematics of it all. My whole numbers have become fractions on a November calendar. I've learned to count parts of each square. I know what it's like to have nothing but time. The night I first saw you dance, I followed the softness of your steps across the floor, across the studio, every spin taken into consideration, every jump. I know the shortest distance between us is a straight line. I want to leap with you, but not tonight, because when I divide the time of day into the time I've known you, multiplied by the number of times you've crossed my mind lately, the answer is way too early to tell what I'm feeling. I know the wrong answer is not always wrong. Do you know how to tango? Would you teach me to ride music in wide open space? Would you teach me to dance to the unexplained, deliberate as the unexplored dances to the patterns of treasure maps? Would you teach me to close my eyes when I kiss? I know that the coefficient of a to the second power is 1. I know what it feels like to be alone in a room too many nights in a row. I know how to fly without wings. If you were a jet airplane traveling at 7.5 kilometers while gaining altitude at a constant rate, if you traveled between points 5.8 kilometers apart, what is the gain in altitude? I would figure it out and meet you at the vertex. I know the Pythagorean theorem. I know that some mornings my dreams lie to me to make me feel better. I laugh, trying to figure out the ones I now have. I'm not saying I dream about you. I'm saying you're in my dreams, and most often I wake up falling. I know the distance I fall equals 1/2 times the acceleration times the time squared it takes me to fall. According to maps, my silence is 1 mile away from you in either direction. I know that speed equals distance divided by the time I sit here and wait. I know exactly how long it should take if I were to measure your gaze in either of the two languages I now speak. I light myself another cigarette. I don't say a thing. I ponder the velocity of silence. Some of you in this audience got to see and hear Mr. Tim O'Brien several weeks back, and I was fortunate enough to give to him a book that contained a poem that I wrote for him, because he has indeed been one of my great influences. So this next poem is for Tim O'Brien. It's called Crisco Martinez, 1950-1967. Crisco died with his soldier in his hand. That's right. He was taking a piss, and Charlie picked him out long distance. The morning was one of those mornings when everyone felt safe as we could feel in the bush. It was a scene perhaps from a war movie, a platoon of 18 boys in loose rank walking towards daybreak. The report we got said, the area ain't hot. So we relaxed and walked slow and talked low about girls back home. Crisco's girl was Susan, a buxom blonde he met somewhere in California. Said she was prettier than the picture he carried like a god in his shirt pocket. Said they were going to be married when his tour was over. It was a good day to be outside. There was a breeze. We were stepping in from the shade into the bright sunlight. We had just smoked a joint, shoelaced with heroin. We were floating on seasick waves, and the horse was starting to kick. We were not paying attention. The birds were singing. The air smelled fresh. The sky was chamber music and was clear. It wasn't a morning for war movies. We were walking in loose rank and laughing and talking about girls back home. We were drifting. It wasn't hot. There was a breeze. The banana trees were movie props of slow dancing leaves. The joint was good. The horse was kicking. We weren't paying attention. We were joking and talking about girls. Crisco was going to be married. The sky was chamber music and was clear. The birds were singing. It wasn't hot. There was a breeze. It was a good day for a white wedding, and all the best men were standing right there. I know many of you expected me to read this long, sweeping 2-hour poem. So I'll disappoint you tonight, but I will read a poem that's, it's not that long. It's a math poem, and I fooled you. The other one was not a math poem. This is a math poem. It's called Before and After the Aftermath. 9 times 11 equals 23. The second assassination of John, Bobby, Abraham, and Martin. Everything begins at the beginning. Y1K plus 400 plus 92Y equals 1776 over 13 stars divided by 13 stripes draped over dead noise, now over yesterday divided by tomorrow over if it comes again into that morning of. Y1K plus 800 plus 65Y divided by 2 equals one nation under one God. Speed equals distance over time divided by time over distance equals time square clock stopped, but light still travels in a straight line. N over O equals no times 0 over 0 at ground level 0 times man over hat equals tan, billowing black smoke, billowing into the history of Pearl over 7 times December over harbor equals Y1K 941 minus FD over R still with us. Why then? Still. Man over hat equals tan. Billowing black smoke attributable to the distribution of bin Laden times 4 FLTS of compressed confusion divided by Jesus over Allah inverted without warning to Allah over Jesus times 11 times 9 times 11 equals 23. The trigonometry of right triangles turned left and left all seats empty. The captain has turned off the no smoking sign. The sun forgot to rise that morning of the morning of. Time over line equals 8:46 AMX flight number 11 crash divided by WTC dash North Tower equals 92 times 1 RI no P. 1 dead John Kennedy, gunshot Dallas, November dash 22 dash Y1K963. 9:03 AMX flight number 175 crashed divided by WTC dash South Tower equals 65 times 1 RI no P. 2 dead Robert Francis Kennedy, gunshot LA, June dash 5 dash Y1K968. Factored into the graphic solution of near simultaneous quadratic explosions on national TV. The captain has turned off the no smoking sign. You are free to move about the cabin. Next time, over same line, 9:45 a.m. X, flight number 77 crash divided by 8 sides, a war, a room, equals 45 times 1, RI, no P. 3 dead Martin Luther Memphis Hotel, gunshot April -7 Y1K968. 10:10 a.m. X, flight number 93 crash divided by cornfield over Penn State times Abraham Lincoln over Gettysburg equals 4 and 4 dead plus 9296. 100 plus 12 stories times 2 plus a field and 8 corners of a room equals 9 times 11 equals 23. When velocity is constant, displacement varies directly with time and the names of 4 women: Mary, Jacqueline, Ethel, Coretta Scott, shot, bullet, ring, out. AK-47 plus 1 equals AK-48 plus 2. 50 United States of confusion lowered at 1/2 past mast greater than or equal to 19 boys on Monday afternoon talking about Tuesday morning, 19 cigarette boys, 19 dead nightlight boxes cut not to fit the format, radio station 93.5 FM divided by C over N square equals CNN reports 3,000 DOA minus 1492 divided again into 1776 equals 1 you and 1 me over 9 times 11. Light travels in a straight line, 4 angry lines of air, no despair. You are free to move around the cabin now. Circumference equals 2 pi r, area equals pi r square. NYP over D, FDN over Y, FB over I, CI over A determines the velocity of uniform acceleration. DAIL 1-800-911-0911. The captain has turned off the. You are now free. 3 times 3xy over x equals 3y over 1 equals 3y to the 4th power, factored in 2. Everything ends at the end. Thank you.